Hi Fantasy Managers, welcome to FPL Team Talks. In this video we put together a wildcard team for game week 6. The turnaround is really short, so we put together a side. We're going to go through the reasons why I've chosen it, and then at the end we're going to do a bit of tinkering, so stick around for that. If you enjoy these sort of videos, hit that like button, don't forget to subscribe. Let's take a look. When is a good time to wildcard then? Well, there is no particular time that you should or shouldn't wildcard. It's going to be entirely team dependent on your situation and who you've got in your side. The one thing I will say though is that we have this wildcard now, and in game week 16, our sides, when the start of the World Cup, will just be shredded up, and we'll have a new side to put together for when the Premier League starts on Boxing Day. So when that happens, we'll be able to have a brand new side. So it's effectively wildcarding, and then we'll get another wildcard 1st of Jan to use before the end of the season. So this wildcard you've got until game week 16, you cannot roll it over, can't have build up wildcards, either use it or lose it. You may decide that your side doesn't need a wildcard. You could look to free hit in game week 16 effectively using a wildcard. The transfer deadline has now passed, so we have an idea about which players are available, and we have 6 weeks and plenty of data now to be able to establish with some security which players are doing well, who's in the side rotation wise, although the transfer window might distort that a little bit. As a random example, I'm putting my team up here. Now don't worry about the points or anything like that. I just want to give you my team as an example. Now, my team is by no means a perfect side. There is players in this side that I'm not particularly happy about and I want to move on. Bailey, for instance, he's been lurking around since the start of the season. Greenwood's doing nothing. He's just an enabler. Do I hold on to Perisic? Trent, not particularly doing. He's done it one game. Do I downgrade Sterling? Salah, maybe, to get another Man City midfielder? So lots of things I could do. Am I going to wildcard? I don't think I am. I've got 2 free hits, so I can remedy some of this, sort of issues with those free hits. And I just don't see an overall benefit from wildcarding right now. The wild team that I put together, I would say, is better, but arguably it's not guaranteed to score more points. And I think with my free transfers, I think I'll benefit more points-wise in the long term if I hold on to that wildcard. And the moment game week 8 seems like a natural place to wildcard with the international break, take stock, have a look at fixture swings, things like that. But again, if you've got 3 or 4 players, if I had a player that wasn't playing, if Rodrigo was going to be out for a number of weeks, if I thought Bailey was getting rotated a lot, Salah had been dropped, blah, 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 then yeah, I might think, well, I'm struggling to get 11 players out. Let's wildcard. I can't continue with this. So all down to your team. But as an example, I don't think there's anything particularly wrong with this side and get definitely 11 players out. Tinker with it a little bit. Essentially, it's okay, and I can live with it. Let's have a look at the team that we're wildcarding to, then, what I've put together for you. Ramsdale in goal. Difficult fixture against Man United, but then he's got Everton and Brentford. They look quite nice. And I brought Ward up because I think he dovetails quite well with Ward. If we go back to Ramsdale, his games have got Tottenham and Liverpool coming up in 9 and 10. And then you have Ward at 4 million, cheapest playing goalkeeper, Forest and Bournemouth. So actually, when Ramsdale's fixtures get quite difficult, I think Ward can come in there and do a job. So I've got Ramsdale and Ward. Ramsdale, second best defence behind Manchester City, really good. Ward, Leicester just can't keep a clean sheet for love nor money at the moment. Will that change? Let's find out. Rodgers says that the side will have a bit more stability after the transfer deadline. We'll wait and see what happens. But against Forest and Bournemouth, I think that's as good a chance of clean sheets. I wouldn't mind jumping from Ramsdale to Ward for those 2 games. That would be my goalkeeping situation, I think. In defence, I've got to go Reece James. Chelsea don't look particularly strong. Missed the game in midweek in Southampton. No clean sheet anyway. It's just his attacking returns, really. I mean, he's just constantly getting attacking returns. If we look at his XG of 0.51, even Trent can't get near it. He's been fantastic. He's versatile. He's pretty much nailed on. Hopefully, with Fofana coming in, he will now play that right wing back. And the fixtures don't look that bad. Fulham, Palace, Wolves, West Ham, and Liverpool. Yeah, trickier games. But apart from that, I think there is 1 or 2 clean sheets in there. And just playing right wing back, I think he can return against anyone. James, for me, absolutely. For 6.1, he's a bargain. He absolutely comes into the side for me. Talking of which, I think Trent as well. Everton, Wolves, Brighton in there. Matip coming back. Hopefully, that will give their back line a bit more solidity, more clean sheets. XGI, as we've just seen, Not up there with last year's, but still pretty good, 0.29. He is the most expensive defender in the Premiership. So again, I do want some of that Liverpool coverage. They don't become a bad defence overnight. I don't think they've been wildly impressive so far, but they are getting better. Alongside James and Trent now, that's quite an impressive back four. I'm going to go Nico Williams. Great XGI. Obviously took a battering against Man City, -1 there, but then you got Bournemouth, Leeds, Fulham. Oh, that's a nice run of fixtures. I wouldn't mind playing him, especially against Bournemouth and maybe Fulham at home as well. Again, his XGI right up there with the best of him. He does really get forward, and at 4.1, I'm happy to put him on the bench if I've got other players playing. No problems with that whatsoever. Kyle Walker, I think for a player in Manchester City, the best defence in the league, he has to be the way into that. Doesn't offer much going forward at all. If he gets any attacking returns, I'll be thrilled. But those fixtures alone, I just want Man City defence covered in that back five. He does that for me. And lastly, a bit controversial maybe, but he just frees up so much money elsewhere. Emerson, 4 million, hasn't done anything so far on his contributions he's played. But for 4 million, playing for West Ham, I think his fixtures do turn later on. He's a good enabler. Don't mind playing him in some of his fixtures. But I just think he's got to be in for me for 4 million. I think he's a great enabler, and we'll see what he can do with that money when you look how it's spread across the rest of their side. Talking of which, I think Martinelli still has to play. 0.79, got the fit at 10 points the other night as well. He looks really good. 0.78 is just behind the likes of De Bruyne, Sterling, Salah. But looking at you're playing a fraction of the price. So 6.4. Really pleased. I think Martinelli has got to be in there for you, covering that Arsenal. De Bruyne as well. So we're putting De Bruyne in this side, 0.87. He's had a rest. Hopefully he comes back in. He doesn't get rested very often. But those fixtures, again, look really good. With Haaland, he's got someone to aim for now. I just think his returns are just going to be huge. Look at that as well in terms of XGI. Right up there with the very best of him, as you would expect, because you are playing premium prices. But you have a Man City midfielder playing at the moment, and City just on fire. De Bruyne, yep, absolutely. Then we go for Luis Diaz in midfield, 8.1. Good XGI as well, looking pretty good, 14 points. Nailed it seems in that Liverpool side. He's got good fixtures, so I'm all for Luis Diaz. Pascal Gross, I've been against him really since the start of the season, but his XGI just continues to be good. He continues to be high. And with the fixtures, I don't think I can really ignore him. He is playing very advanced for Brighton. He's not taking penalties anymore. But again, with those fixtures, 5.8, I think on that price point, I don't think there's many better options than that. So Gross makes it in. And then Andreas, he just looks good. Terrible fixtures, but for 4.5, good enabler. He plays every week. He's a good bench option. And I'm happy to bring him off the bench at times. 2 returns in the last 3 games for a 4.5. That's good. Jesus absolutely has to come up front. I don't think there's too many conversations needed about that. Over 1 is XGI. That's brilliant. Only Haaland, who's just off the scale at the moment, is getting any better than that. Good fixtures. Jesus definitely comes in. Then I've got Ivan Toney. Good fixtures. His XGI pretty good as well. 0.73. Right up there, really. Considering you're playing 7.2 as well. Good fixtures. Nailed on pens. I really like him. And no surprises, really, who comes in last. Haaland, I don't think we need to talk any more about him. Just wow. That completes the side. So, what other options are there? There's a few big names missing from this. Let's do a little bit of tinkering. So the squad value is just a tad over 100 million. So most of us are going to be able to afford that. If you can't, or you want to jiggle around with this side, there are a number of options. First one, Cucurelli's been heavily brought in. His XGI isn't great, but he is picking up the odd assist. You could bring him in instead of Reece James if he continues to play in that sort of centre-back role, which I don't see happening. Cucurella is definitely an option. He looks pretty nailed. I much prefer to go to James if I'm honest. The other choices you have got, which are quite interesting, is one of the big misses in this side is clearly Salah. Now, you've got to make some sort of compromises to get to him. You could, if you wanted to, downgrade De Bruyne to someone like a Bernardo. That would release funds to then go to someone like a Salah. You could go down to a Luis Diaz if you want, and then take De Bruyne out to get to Salah. But Bernardo Silva playing regularly at the moment in that City midfield, 0.52. You could double up if you wanted to and save money by taking out Luis Diaz. but that only leaves you a bit light with just Trent in that Liverpool lineup. I'm not sure I want to do that. The problem is with Salah, he's just so expensive, isn't he? But still, that XGI is impressive. 13 million, so you'd have to. I think the only way you can really do it, I can see, is by sacrificing De Bruyne. It's very difficult to see how you can get both De Bruyne and Salah in the same side. But yeah, Salah, you leave him out at your peril. The other choices you've got are quite like say maximum. If he's fit again, 13.9 points, didn't play in the last one, 6.5 million. I think he's quite a good option. I do quite like him. You could perhaps do him in, again, do you take out Luis Diaz? Do you save from going from Trent, maybe to a Cucurella, maybe save 1 million from James, upgrade? Gross possibilities there. Other one just thrown out there if you wanted to move people around. Che Adams at Southampton, nailed up front, cheaper than Tony, got a decent set of fixtures now coming up as well. 6.4 saves you the money. Again, you could then go to De Bruyne to Salah and keep Diaz if you want to double up on Liverpool. And finally, one that we looked at in the game week review, and I may be looking at more in my team selection and transfers, is Isaac. 8 points on his debut at Anfield. 7 million. I think that's a decent option. They've got some really good fixtures coming up as well, Newcastle. Nailed up front. Not sure if he's going to be on penalties, not. Have to wait and see. 7 million. Oh, I really like the look of Isaac. That's it for this one then. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it useful. Let me know in the comments below. Are you wildcarding for game week 6? Who are the players that you are definitely bringing in? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, I should come back at you with a team selection shortly. Best of luck for the rest of your game week. Speak to you soon.